carry, you know, when you're on a portage. Very, very nice. It's in fact a lot of my stuff is my cook kit, my clothing, all that stuff. It's nice to have different bags for different stuff so you're not constantly digging through everything trying to find. You go, oh, there's a red bag. That's my cook gear. Anyway, I used this thing once. I know, it's a whopper, right? It's huge. It is a Shadzilla, and it's the Magnum Shadzilla, hot perch. And after I had the big fish, grab hold of that pike and leave those tooth marks that were like that far apart, I went right to this, and it didn't seem big at all. So I got a number of these Shadzillas. Let me get one out of the box, you can check them out. This one worked great on Barkley. Well, right now it's got a rip in the tail. I gotta fix it, a little super glue. But you can see, man, this thing is chewed. I put that down with that 100-pound leader, just drop it back behind the boat. You don't even got it, you can get it near the bottom. They see it. This is something they'll come up for. You'll move a big fish with this kind of lure. It's heavy. It's probably 6 to 8 ounces. It's got some beef. It's also dangerous. See these hooks? 8-aught, super premium, super sharp. You don't want to wear them, that's for sure. So I got ways of dealing with these fish, and I'll show you that in a little while. But these are the ticket, man. I was impressed. They're not cheap. Say 18 bucks. If the fish are really chewing, like you catch a whole bunch in one day, I bet it's toast by the end of the day. So it's not cheap. This is my 100-pound fluorocarbon leader. These are some hoagie lures. Real popular in saltwater. The striped bass guys really use them to great effect. I didn't catch anything on, oh wait a minute, yeah, I caught some small walleye. I was jigging these in front of musklow in the evening time, right where the river comes in. And yeah, the little 18-inch walleyes, they love this thing. Kapow, kapow, kapow. So, but no big pike, or a big walleye. I was waiting for that big 29-inch walleye to whack this thing, but no dice. But they are good lures, big fish lure. This is my favorite out of all the Shadzillas that I brought. They didn't have the colors that I really wanted. They were completely sold out. But this is the one I like the best. In fact, I caught my biggest pike on this one. I put this thing on, and I mean literally, it was 10 minutes later, and I had the 16-pounder. Nice fish, not huge, not not a big pike, but it was nice. It was nice fish. This rainbow trout, this is one of the colors I did like. They did have it. I really do like it. This hot perch, even though it's all chewed up, it did well in Barkley with that off-color water. Not so good in the clear water lakes, but in that off-color water of Barkley, again, if you could see it up close, it is just shredded. I have taken some time, used some super glue to fix them up. Now here's a little different twist, which I thought was kind of cool. This one's weighted, it's 8 ounces, and it's got a tail spinner. And I don't know if you've been following much of the Bondi baits. Very similar to a Bondi bait, except that it's hollow. That little tail spinner, it's a good jigging lure. Or you could just drift it. I was kind of hoping I'd get a big walleye on one of those, when no way. Now here is, this is the stuff I typically use when I weren't onto those Shadzilla type lures. These Lindy wraps, so by the way, this is a good way to keep your big baits. This is a Legend jointed, awesome lure. I don't know if you've noticed, I've removed the third treble hook on all these lures. Because man, I'll tell you what, it just got too dangerous trying to handle these fish. When you know 8 inches away, my pliers are only about 8 or 9 inches, and you've got a fish thrashing, and this other hook is out there trying to get you. So, you know, I haven't noticed any drop off in hookup percentage. I didn't fish this much. I guess the workload went to the Shadzilla lures. Particularly when I seen the guides at Saborin had those Shadzilla lures on, and the big Jake lures as well. This is a bait glove. I couldn't find any more of the Lindy's. They quit making them. This was deadly at a regular lake. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. On big pike, not big pike. They were probably about 12 to 14 pounds. They were nice pike, you know, good ones. And you know, they call this a shallow raider, but I was getting it down 15 to 20 feet on a troll. And I don't know why, but I haven't run this color pattern. Man, it was awesome at a regular lake. It was like one after another, and I had a long way to go. I was like, man, I gotta stop fishing, get paddling. So that's haven't used that one. This is something I should have used at Musklau, but I didn't pick up on. Maybe these fish were a little shallower than I thought until it was kind of too late. But this is an awesome lure. Oh, it's a Phantom glider, and man, this thing just, you twitch it, or you can just reel it, and it darts and sinks and dives. Pike like that sort of stuff. Any kind of jigging, erratic motion, it's a trigger for them. I bought some smaller versions of that to fish in the salt water. And what else we got here? Oh, I caught some on this thing. I despise it though, and I'll tell you why. This is a real image. Not too many guys have seen a real image perch this size. You don't see them in the tackle shops. But what I don't like about this lure are these big rattles. I'm not a big rattle guy. I think what I'm going to do is drill a hole, shoot some vegetable oil in there, and then seal the hole back up with a little bit of super glue and tone that down just a little bit. It's just too loud in my opinion. Who knows? I don't know. I did catch some nice fish with it though. I caught quite a few walleye with it. Those walleye at Musklau, man. Doesn't matter how big a lure you're throwing, they're gonna chew it. And let's see. Last but not least, in this category. Oh yeah. This was kind of like the lures I seen the guides have in their boat on their big Jake's lure. I think this is a grandma, but a Jake and a grandma, very similar. They were running stuff like this for these fish, man. So it tells you something. I mean, these guys know. You want to catch a big pike, put something big in front, make them move. They see something like this coming up, they say, okay, that's something I'll move for. And but you got to have the gear. You got to have the right stuff to be able to handle this stuff. And what else is in here? Some different pound tests of fluorocarbon. This was kind of interesting setup. This is a Barbarian sand eel jig head. This one's a 2 ounce, 3 ounce, 4 ounce. Oh, it's 4 ounce. Yes, it's pretty heavy. And big long paddle tail. And I wanted to get that down there and just troll it real slow for lake trout, but no dice. I didn't catch any lake trout. That's probably one of the bigger disappointments. I don't even know if you can call it disappointment, but you know, kind of wanted to catch some lake trout. Wanted to cook them. You really wanted to catch a whopper is what I wanted. Here again, the Barbarian sand eel. More of these are hoagies, hoagie paddle tails. And oh wait, there's more. Yes, there's never a lack of variety. Ta-da! This is that big nickel spoon. No, it's a Ben Parker signature series. I thought Nichols made it, but I like this thing, man. It's got a nice flip and flap to it, and I caught the heck out of the walleye in 100 and 180 to 120 feet of water in Musklau. I mean, don't ask me what they're doing out there, but I've caught them anywhere from out there, anywhere from 3 feet to out over 120 feet of water. Here's a believer, pretty common musky lure. I caught one of the nice pike on this. I got in shallow with it, probably about 12 feet. I started cranking it in, and oh, there's a pretty good fish. So maybe I caught that one by accident, but I still caught it. This is what I was running, a Sebile swimmer. This is what I was running when Mr. Big bit that other pike. I think he was following this, and I think the little fish jumped on it, and then he nailed, because everything was simultaneous. There was no reeling in a little fish and all of a sudden it felt big. He felt big right from the get-go. I was like, ooh, man, this fish is nice. So and then I reeled in that little guy, and I was like, huh, what, huh? And sure enough, then I figured, I said, okay, there had to be something big on here. And then I seen those bite marks. Man, he had to be huge, right? This is an old favorite. You want to catch big walleye, and if they're in shallow, they'll eat this thing, man. They don't think twice. I've done real well with this in the past. Did I catch any? I don't see any tooth marks. I don't think I caught anything with it. I didn't run it that much though. This is double cowgirl, and this is the cowgirl model. This I probably hooked the biggest pike I've ever hooked in Isle Royale, trolling a Mepps musky marabou in the weeds, and that was when I flipped my boat, got sideways to the fish, pulled up, broke the line, whoop, just as pretty as you please. You don't think a canoe can go over easily? Trust me, it can go over just like that. Next thing you know is, wow, the land looks different from the side. It's not a fun experience, and it'll give you some newfound respect. Some jigs, these are cobra heads, pretty deadly lure. I also got a big chatterbait. Nice jigging application. Speaking of chatterbaits, man, they were the ticket out here in Musklau for smallmouth and walleye when you were casting for them. Up in the rocks, I mean, they were lights out. Definitely what you wanted to use, and in fact, I had a copper-colored chatterbait, and this Big Bite Bait Pro Series. First time I've ever used them, but I'll tell you what, man. You put this thing, this color right here, put this sideways, rig it up sideways on a chatterbait with these two little tails flittering and flapping. It was deadly on smallmouth and walleyes. I've never caught so many walleyes in my life than at Musklau Lake, and half the time I wasn't even fishing for them. Half the time I was fishing for something else, and there they were. Oh, there's another 18-inch walleye. But it was fun. I'll go through a few other things. That's all my lure selection. Did I bring enough? But here's my rod holder. I'm always singing the praises of this rod holder right here. It's Ram series rod holder. I do like to have a safety clip. There was one time, this is probably the first time in several years, that this thing actually may have saved the rod. I got a big bite, it kind of turned on its side, it looked like it wanted to leave, and this kind of saved the day. It's easy to clip on and off. It's sturdy, what I like. I mean, I've had this thing bending, you know. You can imagine 65-pound Power Pro, stiff musky rod, this thing's flexing, and it really works nicely. The other thing I like about it, see how high it pops up off the gunnel of your canoe? Boom, you're up there, your rod is high, and when you go to paddle stroke, because I want it fairly close to me. If it's down lower, now also my rod is more close to my gunnel, and when I go to put that paddle in there, things get a little dicey. So this pops it up off, and it gives me some clearance. I've got some place to put my paddle. It's much better. I angle it back slightly, not real bad, but just slightly backward. And this is, I've owned every, well, I shouldn't say every, but I've owned bunches of rod holders. I got a bunch on my other boat. Had down east rod holders. I've had all different kinds. This is the ticket. I've got a side mount application. I got one on either side, so depending on my scenario, I can flip it over and fish the other side. I went a little overboard on handling these fish. You're 4 days in from nowhere. The last thing you want is to be wearing one of these big 8-aught hooks in your hand. I probably had more trouble with 24-inch pike than any other fish. But you see, I fish a lot of big lures, a lot of big hooks hanging off there. What I like to do is, when I get ready to land them, I like to put this glove on. I like to have my boga in my hand, so when I go down to lip these fish, if something happens, because I can't tell you how many close calls I've had, especially with small pike. A few things I've learned in handling small pike: they're probably your biggest enemy. Because what happens is you typically bring them into the boat pretty quick. They're green.